This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project, brought to you by DangerouslyHardcore.com. We got some things to get to here at the Power Project. Each and every day is a chance for us to learn. Each and every day is an opportunity for us to get better. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So here we go. We're going to talk about a video that I just posted with some of my CrossFitians doing wide stance box squats. By the way, it's squats. Repeat after me, class. Page 43. S-K-W-A-A-T-S. Bam! Exclamation point. Squats. They're called squats. Let's do it one more time so everybody's got it. Fat guy in the back, make sure you're, Johnny, make sure you're paying attention. I know you got ADD and elemental P and everything else, but pay attention. S-K-W-A-A-T-S. Squats. Also, when you're lifting raw, it's not just raw. You can't say you did something raw. You got to point out to everybody, you got to point out to the world that you did not cheat, and that you did not use any powerlifting equipment at all. Make sure it's capital R, capital A, capital A, capital W, and then at minimum of 3 exclamation points. If you lifted anything over 550, 600 range, you can start to use more exclamation points. If you did 900, like Stan the Rhino Efforting is going to do here at my gym this Saturday, then you can use as many exclamation points as you'd like. But it's important that you say raw and that you say squats. Just make sure we're on the same page and make sure we all have the same dialogue. Anyway, I posted a video of my CrossFitians doing some wide stance box squats, cutting into the hamstrings, the glutes, the hips, getting into all those crucial muscles that are important not only for squatting but for sport, period, for explosive power, period, for anyone, period, anyone getting up out of a chair, anyone getting up off of a couch, anyone rolling out of bed, anyone who needs to jump, anyone who needs to sprint or run or do anything for any sport. It's important for you guys to realize that, because sometimes I think we lose focus. We lose track of what's important. I will get to that in a little bit, but first we're going to get to the question of the day. We're going to talk about Fahim from England, who said that he's had a lot of great results from the Westside Barbell program and from a lot of the knowledge that I'm spitting here at the Power Project, and he's learned a lot from the People's Coach, but he's got a 616-pound squat, 616-pound deadlift, a 400-pound bench. He's really kicking some ass in single-ply gear. The guy only weighs 200 pounds, so congratulations on those numbers. But he got a new job. Life is getting in the way of his training. I would tell you to quit your job and to forget about it and just to get back on track with your training. But sometimes life does get in the way of training, and here's what we do. We don't quit. We don't give up. We plow through. We continue to move forward. We continue to get better. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get out my magic coin, which is right here. Right here. This is better than a thinking cap, although it can turn into one. You can place it up here. Whoops. Fell off my giant head. But it can be a thinking cap as well. We can leave that up there and see if I can balance that for the entire duration of this video, however long it goes. Anyway, with this magic coin, with my thinking cap, ka-clink, we're going to turn this program, the Westside Barbell Conjugate program, and we're going to flip it upside down like a pancake, and we're going to cook both sides of it real good, and we're going to eat it up, digest it, and poop it out, and turn it into something different. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Saturday-Sunday routine, because I know you're working your ass off, but I know that nobody works on a weekend. No one cares. People usually stop working around Thursday anyway. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest with ourselves. No one does anything on Monday either because there's too much to do. Anyway, it's a whole other story for a whole other day. I can get into all that at some point. But with this magic coin, we're going to do all that right now, right here on the Power Project. So we're going to do Saturday, what we're going to do is we're going to do dynamic effort squats followed by max effort deadlifts. The following week, we're going to flip-flop that. Max effort squats followed by dynamical effort deadlifting. On the bench press day, we're going to do the same thing. Sunday. It's Sunday, by the way. S-U-N-D-E-E. Sunday. Like you're 75 years old. You got to say it like that. Sunday. Have some respect for your elders and start saying it like that. They'll start to know what you're talking about a little bit more. Anyway, on Sunday, we're going to do dynamic effort bench one week and max effort bench the next. Whichever way makes sense for you in accordance to what you did the day before on your Saturday. That's fine with me. You can do whatever you'd like. Now, as far as assistance work, we're not going to be able to get to a lot of assistance work. In fact, I would recommend you pick one assistance exercise on each day, one assistance exercise for Saturday, and one assistance exercise for Sunday. And then we get back in the gym on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and we get in a little bit of working out. We work some hammies, we work some triceps. Just pick one day. Work some hammies, work some triceps, work some back. We know how crucial working the back is to deadlifting, squatting, and benching. So we got to make sure we work those lats. Yes, your lats. Your lats, the things that hang from your disgusting armpits, those things are crucial to powerlifting. Anyone who's got a big bench, anyone who's got a big deadlift has some lats to go along with it. So make sure you're working the hell out of those. So we got a Saturday, Sunday routine, and we got to pick up one extra day, dude. You got to make one extra day. I know you're traveling a lot and you're going back and forth to work, but make it happen. A lot of times at your job, a lot of times they have gyms at these facilities. Sometimes they don't, but there might be something down the street. Instead of grabbing lunch, grab some weights and start lifting. Get a little bit of lifting in, and then eat a sandwich and get back to work. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Now let's get back to this wide stance, close stance shenanigans. Some of you guys are saying that Louis Simmons doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah, 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 blah. Some negativity is being kicked around. Look, like I said earlier, with the wide stance squat, it's going to help train up your hips. It's going to help train up your glutes. I'm not saying that you should never go close. Obviously, you should go close. But by training out wide, by training in areas where you're uncomfortable, and by getting through some of these movements, by building up the hips, you're going to help build yourself up to be very, very explosive. Am I going to say you're going to be more explosive than someone who squats close? No, because there's always an exception to the rule. But I will say this. I have dealt with many CrossFitters. I've dealt with many raw lifters. I've dealt with a lot of guys that lift without even a belt. And I've also helped coach the strongest raw power lifter of all time, Stan Efferding. This guy's going to bust out a 2,300 pound total. He's busting out at the seams. He's one of the strongest dudes I've ever seen in my life. Also now working with Blair Morrison, who is a high-level CrossFitter, Ben Alderman, and a bunch of other dudes. I got Travis and I got Justin, who own East Sacramento CrossFit, and those two guys are beasts as well. These guys are all going to start to kill it. Ben actually just beat everybody recently, regionally, at a local CrossFit competition. And Blair, a lot of you guys already know who he is. He finished in the top 5 about 2 years ago at the CrossFit Games. So it's no coincidence that these guys are getting better. It's no coincidence that these guys are cleaning more weight and snatching more weight with the wide stance squats. Where do they end up a lot of times when they do a snatch, when they do a clean? They're not as proficient. They're not as awesome as these high-level Olympic lifters. So their feet end up out wider than they should. On a clean ladder, on a snatch ladder, they get fatigued, or the weights are simply too heavy, and they have an error in their form, and their feet end up very wide. Even Rich Froning, who has now won $500,000 from being a CrossFitting, along with a lot of sponsorship money, guy's probably making $1 million a year. Even as great as he is and as dominant as he is in CrossFit, and even Annie Thorsdottir, who's kicking everyone's ass, who won 2 years in a row as well, where do her feet end up when she gets fatigued, when she does a clean, when she does a snatch? So why not train through those areas? I'm not going to sit here and argue about Olympic lifting and powerlifting and blah, blah. Very hard to compare one athlete to the next. But I will say this. In powerlifting, you got 3 things to worry about. And in Olympic lifting, you only have 2. The difficulty of those 2 lifts is brutal. Because it takes flexibility, speed, power. It takes a combination of a lot of things, a lot of factors in there, and that's why a lot of these guys don't get better. But another reason, in my opinion, why a lot of these guys don't get better in Olympic lifting is because they're not thinking outside the box enough. There is no Louis Simmons in their world, unfortunately, here in the United States, although there needs to be. In Olympic lifters that I see, this is just going off of what I see. I don't pretend I know anything about Olympic lifting. But the Olympic lifters that I see, they're not doing enough assistance work. They're not changing things up enough. They're too worried. They're too focused in. And the same thing can be said about powerlifters often. Same thing can be said about bodybuilders who are trying to stay so lean all the time, not gaining any muscle mass, not thinking outside the box quite enough. But you got to think outside the box. You got to think different. You got to train different. And you got to believe in your program. Belief has moved continents. It has moved countries. And it's put man on the moon. And it will take you through your next battle. And that is it from supertraining.tv. I'm out.